A week before Tears of the Kingdom was released, I put out a video in which I talked about what we might see in the tutorial area. Today, I want to go over what I got right, what I got wrong, and how the Great Sky Island compares to the Great Plateau in gameplay and design. Before the tutorial area, I speculated that we would first travel below Hyrule Castle with Zelda to find Ganon. This was correct. I was also right in my theory that this trek would consist primarily of cutscenes, and there was even combat before Ganon. However, we only fought off 3 keys, so it wasn't really that much combat. After we find the body of Ganon and the events that transpire afterwards, Link does in fact wake up at the start of the journey. And by the way, all of the best Zelda games start this way, and you can quote me on that. Link once again wakes up in a shrine where he has rested to heal after a traumatic event. A voice calls to him, but this time it's not Zelda. We then make our way through a much larger space than that of the Shrine of Resurrection. One minor aspect I found to be a strange choice was, despite this shrine being much larger, Link can only find 1 piece of armor, unlike the 2 pieces from Breath of the Wild. You first get the leg piece, and then the chest armor is found somewhere else on the Great Sky Island. Breath of the Wild captured the scale and beauty of Hyrule in a short cinematic of Link running to the edge of a small cliff. Tears of the Kingdom was able to do this again with Link skydiving for the first time, and this version also manages to capture the theme of the game. As Link falls downward, we are treated to a beautiful autumn gold color palette. This is a sharp contrast to the green fields of the Great Plateau. This indication communicates to the player that this is not the Hyrule of the surface. The rules of nature are different in the sky. This idea is reinforced by a new variety of plant life, such as fire fruit, stam balm, and dazzle fruit. Link is greeted by a steward construct who gives him Zelda's Purapad. This piece of equipment is this game's version of the Sheikah Slate. The construct then directs Link to the Temple of Time, this of course being the Zonai version. This event is comparable to the Old Man guiding Link. Both of these events will trigger the tutorial section of each game respectively. In Breath of the Wild, once Link activates the tower and shrines, the Old Man tasks Link with completing the shrines. In return, Link will receive the paraglider, thus the ability to leave the Great Plateau. On the Great Sky Island, Link tries to open the Temple of Time, but fails. A Zonai spirit named Rauru appears before Link. He claims that Link's new arm once belonged to him, and that the power has diminished. Rauru suggests that Link visit the Zonai shrines to regain some of its power. By the way, Rauru shares his name with the Hylian sage from Ocarina of Time. Unlike Breath of the Wild, Link only finds 3 shrines before returning to the Temple of Time. In each one of these shrines, Link gains a new ability. The Sheikah Slate was upgraded by a pedestal, however, the arm is upgraded by Rauru himself. The shrines are then completed using the ability that was acquired at the start. At the end of the Zonai shrines, there isn't a monk offering a spirit orb, but a statue of a Zonai and a Hylian that offers Light of Blessing. This orb enters Link's arm and purifies some of the malice from Ganon. Up until the end of the 3rd shrine, these 2 tutorial areas are replicas of each other. The Great Sky Island even has a snow biome that teaches the player to cook food with cold resistance. This is where the similarities end, and when the Great Sky Island becomes unique. Once Link completes the 3rd shrine, Rauru informs him that he should be able to enter the Temple of Time. I figured that the 4th shrine would be inside the temple. Instead, we find Zelda. She seems to be in a trance as she offers her hand to Link. After grabbing her hand, Link is gifted the recall ability. This power allows Link to rewind time on specific objects. I thought this event would replace the 4th shrine since Link learns to use recall to reach the back door of the temple. I was wrong. I should mention that unlike the Great Plateau, fast travel between shrines was unavailable. I thought that this was implemented due to the linearity of the area. Wrong again. This was a choice made so that the player would not be able to find the 4th shrine before trying to exit the Temple of Time. I'm sure speedrunners will find a way to get there sooner. To open the Temple of Time's exit door, Link must have 4 hearts. The door will deplete Link's life, comparable to pulling the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild. There's just one problem. Link only has 3 Light of Blessing orbs. 4 are required for an additional heart container. Rauru appears and asks Link for his Purapad. This is when he adds the ability to fast travel between shrines. Link is instructed to travel back to where he woke up. The 4th shrine is nearby, and this would be the final test for him to pass. Because Link already received the recall ability from Zelda, he only needs to prove his efficiency with it to complete the shrine. With the 4th Light of Blessing in hand, Link prays to the goddess statue for an extra heart container. I find it interesting how the player is forced to gain a heart in this first set of orbs. In Breath of the Wild, the player could choose a heart container or a stamina vessel. My only question now is, will we be able to obtain all hearts and stamina wheels without glitches? If not, I will be looking forward to what solution the community comes up with this time around. We have completed the tutorial section, and our reward is the ability to return to the surface. The cloud covered sky opens up in a circular formation that is reminiscent to that of Skyward Sword. This adds to my suspicion that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have more direct connections to Skyward Sword, but that is a topic for another video. The Great Sky Island is a perfect example of a classic saying in the creative world: give me the same thing, but different. As someone who has played Breath of the Wild a little too much, I had a general idea of what to do in this area. That being said, the Great Sky Island kept me guessing, and the changes made for a pleasant surprise. As I stated in my last video, a tutorial area needs to be informative and give the player a sense of the game's theme. Tears of the Kingdom did exactly that. The Great Plateau put exploration in the forefront, as that was the theme of that game. On the Great Sky Island, creativity and crafting were the stars of the tutorial. This exemplified the theme of the game. Even though the path was linear, how the path was traversed will differ from player to player based on their creativity. The enemy count was much lower in this area, which helped players focus more on the crafting aspect of the game. A lot of dialogue that explains the game's mechanics was given to the steward constructs. These NPCs are optional to interact with. This allowed returning players who understood the game to skip this information. However, it's still available for new players to seek out. Once again, the Zelda team starts their game big and bold, which leaves a lasting impression on the player. Much like the Great Plateau, the Great Sky Island will live on in the memories of Zelda fans for years to come. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, a like is really appreciated, and consider subscribing for a lot more Zelda content and other video essays. Until next time, have a great one.